You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru at. Tümer gitti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Zuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 168 of Beşiktaş International's The Black Eagles podcast. I am your host, Sinan, live from New York City. And last I reported, it was, the winter was hanging on stubbornly. Even though the spring is, should be well here by now. And sure enough, since then, things have heated up considerably. It was almost summer these last couple days. And as always, just like New York's weather, just as the city was hot, so too do we hope Beşiktaş would be, without giving any spoilers away. So our match, of course, for this episode was a hugely important one against the likes of Rizespor, a side who, we traditionally beat, but at the same time who has also traditionally thrown up a few nasty results for not just us, but for all the Istanbul Three, if you will, the Big Three. So they have it in them to get some results, and they have a lot of talent on their side. So, as always, we'd have to be on our top game, on top of our game, to get a result here for sure. Let's obviously dig into what would be a hugely important match. But before we do, as we typically do these days, let's talk a little bit about the situation going into the match. So, as we typically do, I guess let's talk a little bit about our opponents first. Now, it's important to note that we've already caught everybody up on the matches of our rivals coming into this one. We waited for those results for our last episode, just as we have for this one. But for anyone who forgot, last week, both Galatasaray and Fener got victories. Galatasaray beat Konya on the road 0-1, and Fener beat Kasımpaşa 3-2 at home. So of course we ourselves were coming off a nice victory. As I said, things were heating up for us. That was my little spoiler, but I guess it was true before. For anyone who didn't know, obviously, we played Kayseri and we won 3-1, and we were getting hot behind some unlikely offensive production from a side that has no strikers. With Abubakar out, he would be out, of course, for this match too. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I just said I would talk about our opponents first, and then I talked about us. But let's talk Rize. Rize is a side who is sort of firmly mid-table, not really much of a danger to anyone at this point. So they didn't have a ton to play for, except for their pride, of course. Although with that said, they're in pretty good form. Their previous match against Gençler, they lost 2-1. Gençler is fighting for to get out of the relegation zone, so they had a little bit more to play for, perhaps. But before that, they beat Konya 5-3 at home. So against it, they lost on the road. So they beat Konya at home 5-3. They beat Antalya 2-3. So on the road. And then they drew Trabzon 0-0. So a lot of good results before that Gençler debacle for them. But again, they didn't have much to play for. And before that, to round out our 5 matches, they lost to Göztepe 2-0 on the road. So, up and down results if you count the entirety of their last 5, but they were on a good streak going into that Gensler match. So they would have, I think they want to round out the season on a positive note. They probably would have wanted to beat us to sort of put a, to underline things, if you will. And they have a bunch of talent this side, so I think they would have wanted to show it off a little bit. Kind of show the world what they've got. Show the Super League what they've got. The Turkish Super League, that is. I guess we didn't really ever follow that up, but for anyone who doesn't know, the European Super League has been postponed, canceled. I think there are like 3 teams still left in it, so that's good news for all of us. But anyway, let's talk about us. So, going into this match, I mentioned Abubakar's out. Additionally, Kyle Larin he was back, but I think we were sort of being cautious. We don't want him to re-injure himself. So he was on the bench. Additionally, Necip and Valentin Rosier were suspended for this match for accumulating a few too many yellow cards. Obviously, better to get it out of the way now than potentially against Galatasaray in a couple matches. So anyway, they'd be gone. Let's dig into this lineup. So for them, I should probably mention their keeper is a solid Gökhan Akan. Name's familiar that you'll recognize. Also, their left back is Ismail Koybaşı. Their striker Boldrin is pretty good. Brian Samudio has given everyone fits in this league. Yasin Pelivan. They've got a number of familiar names. They're certainly not someone that you'd expect to walk over easily. For us, Ersin was in the goal, of course. Domagoj Vida and Wellington on the back lines. We had a trustworthy back line again. And Sakala on the left side of our defense. And Dorakan Tokus on the right side, replacing Valentin Rosier, who I mentioned was suspended here. Joseph was on the back of our midfield with Atiba ahead of him and Adem Ljajic in the sort of most attacking role there. Georges Cavin Nkudu would start on the left side after a really hot match against Kayseri, so we'd hope that he would carry that into this one. Rashid Ghazal would play on the right side, of course, and up front again, who else but Gökhan Töre, apparently our third striker. None of us knew that until last week, but that's what it is. I think all of us would have been pretty pleased with this lineup. We didn't really have a ton of options anywhere, frankly, and I think we were surprisingly effective in attack in our previous match against Kayseri, despite not having a striker. So I think all of us would have been pretty pleased even to see Gökhan Töre. He was effective, if not, a star of the match by any stretch. But, he did what he had to do, and he kind of opened up our attack a bit. So I think all of us would have liked to have seen him get this look rather than anyone else. Especially given that, again, we were easing Kyle Larin back in after his injury, and Abubakar's out. But so let's dig in. And right as per usual, as we've been doing lately, we came out with some flair and some energy, which you'd hope to see, given what we have to play for, right? And in the first minute, Atiba would lay it off to Adem Ljajic, who would get in a nice shot on goal, and Gökhan Akan, Rize's keeper, would save it. Yeah, this would become a bit of a nasty theme, to be honest, if you will. In the fourth minute, Atiba would lay it on for Rashid Ghazal, who would find Gökhan Töre on the ground, and he, from a bit of distance, would send in a shot that again was saved, this one more impressive than the other one. And so Gökhan Akan doing some frustratingly good keeping against us. And then in the 13th minute, Adem Ljajic would lay it off for Nkudu, who would send it in from also just sort of the edge of the penalty box, and it would again be saved. So this was getting annoying. 3 opportunities, 3 saves so far. It's worth mentioning, by the way, that we're on the road here. Maybe I mentioned it already, but we're at the Yeni Rize Stadi. So, this keeper is playing well in front of, not in front of any fans, I suppose, but certainly at home. Keeping keeping the fort safe, if you will. But so, we would be happy, I think, with the effort and the attacking initiative shown by Beşiktaş early here, but also very frustrated by Gökhan Akhan's really quality keeping. But sure enough, in the 15th minute of play, Rashid Ghazal, some lovely dribbling, would get behind the defense, slide it in on the ground, lovely, just perfectly placed to Georges Kevin, who would in fact ride that form from last week and pop it into the back of the net. I mean, not a very challenging goal, but still, you'd like to see it. We had a lot of opportunities like this blocked by defenders, so I guess we got to give credit where it's due. Nkudu finishes, and Beşiktaş has the lead, 0-1 on the road. Just a great start, despite being frustrated early. We showed that persistence and got the goal. In the 16th minute, just a minute later, I'm not sure, there was a sub, I don't know, so Yasin Pelivan would get injured and Loic Remy would come on. And I don't know if this was right before or right after what would happen next, and that would be, so right after our goal, it was it was Atiba who would find Gökhan Töre along the right side of their side of the pitch, and he would slot it on for Adem Ljajic, who would take a couple dribbles, advancing quickly from our side of the pitch, and he would take a couple nice little dribbles, send in a shot perfectly, sliding it in with a little air underneath it, across the goal mouth into the left side of the net, and it was a goal. And somehow it was flagged for offsides. And what I really did not like about the way it was flagged is that Atiba Hutchinson, who was passed to Gökhan Töre, was the sort of one that was adjudged to be offsides, or rather, Gökhan Töre was judged to be offsides. You couldn't see the ball. So Atiba himself was obscured by a defender, and so you couldn't really see the ball if it was on his foot or not. It seemed like they kind of waited a little bit, let the ball roll off his foot a little before stopping it, and you couldn't really tell that because you couldn't see where the ball would or would not have connected to Atiba's foot because it was obscured by a defender. And they didn't really give it much of a review. They just kind of were like, nope, no, offsides. And the camera, there wasn't much attention given to it. They didn't really, they gave us a freeze frame, but again, it was that shot with Atiba obscured behind a defender. So I was unhappy with this. I thought it might have actually been a goal, but it was taken away. Offsides for Gökhan Töre, which if anyone remembers last week, he did a lot of. But so yeah, that would be a shame. 30th minute though, Nkudu, and so like I mentioned, there was a sub where Loic Remy would come on, and for anyone who followed the news midweek, he was talking some trash coming into this match, so that would have raised some eyebrows, I think. Although I guess I was surprised he didn't start in the first place, given all the trash he was talking. You'd think he'd be, relevant somehow. But anyway, in the 30th minute, Nkudu would lay it on nicely for Adem Ljajic, who would do some fancy dribbling, and then find Atiba, whose shot would be blocked by a defender. And I mentioned earlier that Nkudu managed to score despite all that goal mouth traffic, but so Atiba would not. And in the 43rd minute, Ghazal would send in a free kick, which would be cleared out deep, and I don't know who sends it in, maybe Wellington with his head, but it would drop to Joseph, who would slickly pass it on, sort of behind his back, lobbing it up over him, dropping it into the path of Domagoj Vida, who would make contact with the ball, or his defender would. It's not entirely clear. I think it may have been the defender. And it would drop into the path of Atiba, who would slam it into the back of the net. No question this time. A goal, surely. And then somehow, again, it's called off with very little review. No freeze framing from BN Sports, so I don't know what. Maybe they couldn't really find out what's going on really either. I mean, there may have been a grazing of the hand by Domagoj Vida, but even if so, the arm was under the control of the defender who was sort of shoving him from behind. So I really, again, don't like the call. I think at this point we're up 3-0, and somehow we go into the half only up 1-0, and you can tell from the body language of our players that they feel like they've done enough to deserve a sort of hearty lead, and instead it's, narrow thin, razor thin, I suppose. But yeah, just unfortunate. Not what you want to see, given all the work we've put into really deserving a solid lead here, and the refs with some questionable work here. But anyway, we go into the half, up a goal, and it was a great half despite the referees finagling. I forgot to mention that Adem Ljajic would get himself a yellow card in the 36th minute of that half. But besides that, nothing really of note besides just being robbed of a couple goals there. So yeah, at the half, no subs for us. Many for them. Not many, too. Moroziuk would come on for Baiano and Durak. I think it's Abdullah Durak, I believe. He would enter this match as well for Michalak. But so yeah, besides that, right out of the gates again, we looked like we were ready to get another goal. I think we knew we couldn't sort of rest on our laurels with just the one goal. And so it would be Gökhan Töre with forcing a save in the 48th minute. And then Gökhan Töre nicely finding Adem Ljajic in the box, who would try, there was a big crowd, lots of traffic in there. Rize was defending seriously at this point. And so he would try to loft the ball over the defense and the keeper, but it would just go over the bar. It would actually be closer than I thought. I thought it was a little too cheeky when I first saw it, but upon replay from a different angle, it was actually relatively close, so whatever. But two near misses right out of the gates. You like to see the effort. But then, sure enough, this is why we needed that goal. You could tell in the 54th minute, Loic Remy would find Brian Samudio, who would find himself one-on-one with the keeper, and Ersin with a huge save, snuffing it out. And then eventually Samudio would be called offside anyway, so... But I don't even care. I'd like to just note that Ersin came up big for us when he was called on. And that would have been a huge moment, obviously, with us still only up 1-0. In the 56th minute now, I think it was Wellington. It was someone deep in the back. Pretty sure it was Wellington. But someone sends it all the way up. Kind of nicely, actually, for Gökhan Töre, who's running up the right side of the wing, which is something he would do despite being the striker fairly consistently in this match. And yeah, you can't say enough. He sort of uses his body well to hold off his defender, which is Selim Ay at this point. Selim Ay sort of stumbles off the ball. Gökhan Töre gets it really well, on stride no less, and just takes it in along the right side, sort of moves his way in towards the center of the pitch, and then with his left foot curls it around the keeper. Just pretty, so pretty. Kisses the camera, not exactly COVID pandemic advised. I wouldn't advise that. I don't think the doctors advise that sort of behavior, but we'll let it go. Hopefully the camera lens was clean. And he did the Töreing with his hand on his face. Yeah, just lovely. Get that second goal. We really needed it. 0-2 on the road here. Like I said, they had almost equalized just before. Not just before. It was just 2 minutes earlier, actually. So it was just before. That's just sort of signifies why you need that goal. And sure enough, we get it. Huge. Gökhan Töre, just... You can't say enough about this kid who... he's not a kid. He's fairly old now. But, the guy who's just not a striker. And he comes in and just plays his heart out for us in a vital role, just possibly saving our title run, frankly. Anyway, 74th minute, Adem Ljajic finds Rashid Ghezal Ljajic from deep in the back. Rashid Ghezal runs forward onto it on the right side. Just lovely moves, dribbling, slithering around. Rize can't get the ball off him, and then he slots it in. Another sort of curling shot coming down the right side, curls it in across the goal to the left, similar to Gökhan Töre's finish, but perhaps even more impressive. And just a stunner. We have a 3-0 lead now, 0-3. We're happy. We're feeling like we've got this. For anyone following Galatasaray's match, they're playing Konya at the same time as us. It's 0-0 still there. It's the 74th minute of our match, and 3-goal lead. Can't say enough about that. 80th minute, Rashid Ghezal would find Adem Ljajic, who would do a slick little dummy. You could tell it was pretty tired at this point, but still had enough energy to do this and get a shot on goal. Gökhan Akan with a lovely save. And just fantastic play here, actually. I forgot to mention, however, though, after Gökhan Töre's goal, he would leave the match in the 62nd minute with what looked to be an injury. Kyle Land would come in. We're hoping for the best. It sounds like it might not be a bad one. They might not risk him against Hatay, just to avoid, like I said, risking him. But it doesn't sound like it was a bad injury in the end. 67th minute, they made a substitution. Donsa coming in for Sabo. 72nd minute, a yellow card for them, for Yasin Pelivan, who, if anyone recalls, was already taken out of the match with an injury early on. So from the bench, he earned himself a card somehow. And then the goal scored by Ghezal, which I already mentioned, in the 74th/75th. In the 78th minute, I did not mention this, Montero would come into the game for Atiba Hutchinson, and Boldrin would leave the match for them for Dos Santos. Fernando. Sort of hefty dude for them. But so, that would basically be it for the subs, leading into what I said was Adem Ljajic's final effort, where he was tired but made the dummy and then forced a nice save. 87th minute, right after Bernard Mensah would enter the match for Adem Ljajic, who just was visibly tired. They would get a free kick in a somewhat dangerous position. I mean, not particularly dangerous. It looked like it was a little deep out, but nonetheless, Ismail Koybaşı slots it in. Just an absolutely fantastic free kick goal. I never knew him to be capable of such a thing. He did the classy thing and didn't celebrate, as a former player of ours. I would rather he just didn't score at all, of course. But it is what it is. He's a footballer playing football. Just 2 minutes later, Moroziuk would send in a long ball on a free kick. It would drop to the head of Dokovic, who would head it in cleanly. And just a shocker of a goal. And suddenly it's 3-2 or 2-3 because we're on the road. And we're all sweating heavily and our hearts are pounding. And of course, naturally, Beşiktaş is scaring us all, as they tend to do. But we would hold on. Fear not. There would be a final yellow card for Dokovic, the goal scorer, in the 4th minute of extra time. The whistle would be blown in the 7th minute of extra time, and that would be it. Beşiktaş wins, huge match. And so, just to quickly recap, I didn't go over official assisters. So on Nkudu's first goal, it was Ghezal who's credited with the assist. On Gökhan Töre's goal, the second, it was in fact Wellington who was credited with the assist. So my guess was correct. On the third goal, it was Ghezal's assist was, I mentioned, credited to Adem Ljajic. So those were your assisters. And the final score, 2-3, a huge road victory. Galatasaray would pull a late winner out of their match, which ended around the same time as ours ended. So that's something to note, which we were all paying attention to. But yeah, whatever, man. I think we were all feeling good about our victory, and we still have that 6-point gap between us and Galatasaray. So who cares? We're feeling good. 3 huge points. And now let me quickly segue to Statisticos. And we'll start with possession as we typically do. And it was surprising. I guess we were up quite a bit for quite a while. And it wasn't until the 87th minute that Ismail scored their first goal. So they were behind a bit and they had to be holding on a bit more than you'd expect. But nonetheless, Beşiktaş only had 54% of the ball to their 46. Total shots, however, 16 to their 8. And we created 19 chances to their 7. Only 2 big chances each, though, supposedly. I don't know if I buy that stat. 376 accurate passes by Beşiktaş, which isn't an exceptional amount. But again, they held the ball more than we typically allow our opponents to. They had 292 accurate passes. We completed our passes at an 84% rate versus their 78% rate. Still, very impressive for Rize. They played well, despite being down. I mean, you wouldn't think so. The first half was all us, but I guess the second half, they're credit to them. They conceded 18 fouls. We conceded 16. We had 6 corners to their 5. They were offsides 5 times to our twice. So yeah, we had 9 shots on target. They only had 3 on target. Still, Ersin had some action there, I guess you could say. Any other major team stats? I don't really want to. I guess no. I mean, each of us were given a yellow card. I mean, this was actually our first. The fouls versus yellow card ratio was actually decent for a change. Ersin was actually only credited with 1 save, although he had a good punch as well. And a save inside the box, which doesn't count as a save because it was kind of charging out for it, which I think we mentioned earlier. Anyway, let's talk stats. I guess let me quickly roll through. Big chances created. Rashid Ghazal, Nkudu, Gökhan Töre, Wellington, each given 1. Total shots, the leader, the match leader was Adem Ljajic, who had 5. Nkudu had 4. Gökhan Töre 3. The most efficient passers, Atiba Hutchinson, 98%, completing 53 passes. Adem Ljajic completed 49 at a 91% rate. Montasar Talbi, their central defender, completed 42 at an 88% rate. Etc. Dribbles succeeded. Fernando Boldrin, their striker, completed 5 dribbles at 100% rate. Fabrice Nsaka completed 4 at 100% rate, so he was very effective. Rashid Ghazal completed 4 as well, but at a 57% rate. And we'll get into individual stats in more depth, obviously, soon. Just quickly, the most successful tacklers of this match, Wellington completed 4 tackles, was 80% with his rate of success. Ismail Koybaşı also had 4 tackles at a 67% rate of success. Samu for Rize had 3 tackles at a 75% rate. And then Joseph had 3 tackles. Dorukhan had 2. That Montasar Talbi guy had 2 as well. That Talbi guy, I must say, was fairly impressive. I know we scored 3 times, so you don't really want to give too much shine to any of their defenders, but I still thought so. So let's talk about individual performances here. And I'll go through the sort of player ratings. Rashid Ghazal was the highest rated player, as you can imagine, a goal and an assist. He had 2 shots, 39 accurate passes at an 80% rate of success. He created 5 chances, 1 shot off target, 1 shot on, by the way, for those 2 shots. 3 long balls, 1 of them accurate. 6 crosses, 4 key passes, 75 touches, 6 duels, 1 out of 17. So that was not a very good job, honestly. But at least he was trying he's involved a lot. 17 duels. He was 4 of 7 on dribbles, succeeded versus attempted. Was dispossessed only once. He made 6 recoveries actually, so he was active. Even going back and getting the ball. He won 1 out of 2 aerial duels, which that's not really his thing. But anyway, yeah, just a solid match all around for Rashid Ghazal. The next highest rated player was Adem Ljajic, who had only 1 assist credited, but he had 5 shots, like I said, the most in the game. 49 accurate passes at a 91% rate. I have to say that Adem Ljajic has been even in matches where he hasn't stood out as as his better matches, he's been very effective in just connecting our attack to our defense, to our midfield. So I really am happy that he's come in and performed since sort of being re-entered into the squad at the halfway point. Anyway, 5 shots, like I mentioned, 3 off target though, but 2 on. So he forced some action by Gökhan Akan. I mentioned a number of those. 2 crosses, 1 accurate long ball. He's 1 for 1 on long balls, so that's great. 5 key passes, 65 touches, so very active. 2 corners. So he got a little corner action from Rashid Ghazal. He had 5 recoveries as well, so he actually got back a little bit too. He didn't attempt any dribbles. It's hard to believe. 0 for 0 on dribbles succeeded or attempted, so I'm just going to assume these stats are incomplete in that regard. Nkudu was the next sort of exceptional performer of the lot. Nkudu had a goal, obviously. 4 total shots, 25 accurate passes at a 74% rate, but a lot of crossing involved for him. He has 3 of his 4 shots were on target, so that's fairly exceptional. Only 1 cross successful, but 2 for 2 on long balls. No key passes, so the goal was really key to his ratings, I suspect. But he had 58 touches, so he was also very involved, and he won 4 of 7 duels. So not as involved as you might like, but he was successful at least. 0 for 2 on dribbles succeeded versus attempted. But he earned a lot of free kicks. He was fouled 3 times. Made 5 recoveries. He was very active in coming back, which you love to see. He won his 1 aerial duel too, so he was sort of quietly effective. We go from exceptional to very good, where you have Wellington and Joseph de Souza. I've already given their key defensive stats. I won't really go too far into it. Atiba Hutchinson also had a very good game. 98% success rate of passing, 53 passes, 3 chances created. And again, only 78 minutes played. He came out of this match too, and he had a shot that was blocked, so just very effective. Blocked by the defender, not by the keeper. He won 5 of 8 duels as well. Only 2 recoveries from him, but he was more involved in attack, I suppose. Gökhan Töre had a great match rating as well. Credited with a goal, obviously, but 3 shots. Only 19 accurate passes, so that probably tarnished his rating a little, but 83% rate of success. No crosses or long balls, so maybe his sort of inefficient passing had a role to play. He had 32 touches, though, so he was fairly active. Only offsides once, so he did better in that regard. And then the sort of less impressive performance, ratings-wise, go to Domagoj Vida and Dorukhan Toku's Fabrice and Sakala, and I think that's shocking. I actually think those 3 guys, especially Dorukhan and Fabrice and Sakala, were really good, and I think the only reason their ratings might not be so high is just because they were not called upon so much. I'm surprised that they didn't get rated more highly, because I thought they were actually very good. Dorukhan, I'm going to say that I think his best position is as a right back. I've said this for a long time, actually, but we haven't seen a lot of it since that first season with us. I really think, and for the national team, he's played on the right back role a bit more than he has with us, possibly, but I think that's the strongest position. He proved me right here. I think this was one of his better performances for us in a while. He stood out as really solidly defending. Nice sliding tackles. And Sakala too, just really good. And he's been so good for like 4 or 5 matches in a row, and I know we all love Ridvan Yilmaz and want to see him performing well, but I don't think any of us can argue against Sakala playing these days. I think many are begrudgingly having to admit that the dude is really playing well. But yeah, I'll leave it there. I don't really need to dig into any sort of low light type stuff, because I really feel like this was a pretty good game despite the late collapse. And perhaps the late collapse had to do with some of the defenders on our side not having the ratings I feel like they deserved. Maybe they had a role to play in that late collapse. I don't think so. There was a free kick. Both goals of theirs were free kicks. One by Ismail Kobashi, which was just a stunner that Ersin couldn't be blamed for, and then the other one by Dokovic off a header. I don't know who allowed it, but I mean it was a frantic goal-mouth scramble late in the match. I'm not gonna really I'm not gonna look at the highlight and sort of try to pick on someone here. I'm just gonna live with it. Huge win. Let's talk standings, because of course that's really all there is that's left to talk. And that's the key thing here. Now, I mentioned Galatasaray won late in their match. That was played at the same time as us, so they got their 3 points, but we still have that 6-point advantage over them. What happened after, and that happened, now it's yesterday, it's late night, recording for me here, and I waited for this result, because it's important to us. Fenerbahce was on the road against Alanyaspor. Alanya's a really solid team. I think a lot of us were hoping they could get a result against Fener, hold them to a point or something like that. And sure enough, they did. 0-0. And Alanya, they hit the woodwork like 3 or 4 times. Alanya deserved 3 points. It's almost a shame Fener got anything out of this. They did, though. They got a single point in a 0-0 draw. They went down a man right before the half. I guess it's worth noting. Rightly so. Just a terrible tackle. But anyway, let's not even talk about their game, because I think what's important here is the standings now. Just because after they dropped 2 points here, Beşiktaş is still in first place. We have first place. We have 78 points. Fenerbahce is in second place with 73 points. And Galatasaray is in third place with 72 points. So we all have played 36 matches. Galatasaray will maybe be playing to pass Fenerbahce now. So that's unfortunate. They're going to still have plenty to play for against us. But, I'm not really scared of them. What's important here is that we have a 5-point lead over Fenerbahce and a 6-point lead over Galatasaray. We've all played 36 matches. Goal differential, we're at plus 40. Fenerbahce is at plus 28 and Galatasaray at plus 35. So we have a 5-goal advantage over Galatasaray. Again, we've been sort of helping ourselves in that regard lately. This time it was we won by 1 goal. Galatasaray won by 1 goal, so remained equal in that regard. But just, fantastic results for us as far as Fenerbahce goes in our win. It's nice to have a little space from them now, and it means that we can now afford to lose and draw. We have only 4 matches left, and we could lose one of those matches and draw another one, and we would still be champions. So I told everyone to calm down. I said, it hurt to lose points in the couple times we did recently. But that really the pressure was still on our opponents. Like, no one wins 5 matches in a row in the Super League these days. And sure enough, just the next week, Fenerbahce proved me right. Just great. Just great. So our next match is against Hatayspor. I don't know why it's on Saturday when all the rest of the Super League's matches are on Sunday. Hatayspor, we asked for some reason we had to ask for their permission to move it back to Sunday, like the rest of the league's matches were. Hatayspor said no, so F them, right? But anyhow, Saturday, I guess we have to wait less. That's the good news. For those of us who are a little impatient. This coming Saturday, Beşiktaş will be hosting Hatayspor. For anyone who needs to know the date of this coming Saturday, it is the very first day of May. May Day, May 1st. Saturday against Hatayspor. Hatay, obviously a very strong side. They're currently in 5th place behind Trabzonspor. They have 57 points, so they can't really catch Trabzon, to be honest. So they don't have much to play for at this point, except obviously holding on to 5th place and not letting Alanya beat them would give them access to Europe if we won the cup and the championship. Of course, if they beat us, it would be harder for us to win the championship. So I don't know. They have conflicting interests here. I don't know if that's true. If there are 5 Turkish teams going to Europe still. I feel like we might have lost a spot actually. But anyway, whatever. They might have something to play for is what I'm trying to get at. So, I mean, whatever. It's a big game. Bupenza, their Super League leading goal scorer, has supposedly got contacts with Fenerbahce next season. He's going to join them. That's the word on the streets. So maybe he'll want to perform for them, right? We have to win still. I mean, we don't technically have to, but I do think we should. It would make our lives a lot easier. We could all go to sleep much more easily on Saturday night and kind of just enjoy Sunday's results, however they come in. But anyway, so yeah, there it is. Saturday, May 1st, Beşiktaş will host Hatayspor. 1:30 p.m. again here on the eastern coast of the United States. Check your local listings. Be there or be square. As always, be back. We will be here for you. Stay in touch. Stay tuned. And we'll be back post that match and maybe post the results on Sunday. So, Sunday, Monday, thereabouts. And as always, go Beşiktaş! Peace out, everyone. Follow us on Twitter at Eagles_podcast. Follow me at Sir_Rice_a lot. Follow us on Instagram, Black Eagle Podcast. One word, peace out. Stay tuned for After the Beep with the Southern Eagle, Emre. Peace.
I watched the game after it's finished, so it's actually nice to watch the game again, as you know the result. What I would like to say, I thought it was a miracle playing against Rizespor with this, without a striker. Gökhan Töre is like a hidden striker, more like a connected with the midfield. I thought that was a miracle game, but as the team played same game again against Rizespor today, that's not a miracle anymore. That's a plan. And Sergen Yalçın, as I say, he's the smartest managers in the league. He came up with the plan, and that plan really confused the opponent teams, and they do not know who to hold, who to chase. And first 4 minutes we had 3 shots on target with Enkudu, Gökhan, and Laiç. And the easiest one was the Enkudu. Instead of hitting on the low, he hit the ball high and straight to goalie on the 14th seconds of the game. We could have started with the goal in the first minute. Anyhow, team played well after I watched the game second time, and we did not give much opportunity to the opponents until the 55th minute, and that minute Ersin saved one-on-one with his head and the ball went out, and that ball come back and Gökhan scored. And the critical moment was that when Gökhan scored, whole team, including whole bench, went to celebrate with him. That was the moment that how team was connected, how the manager made every single player to believe the championship. That is dedication. We were quick passing, we were running, opening spaces for each other. Enkudu was good, Laiç was good, Gezal was excellent. I mean, his assist to Enkudu was phenomenal. I mean, dragging all the defenders, and between 4 or 5 players making a very clear pass to Enkudu to roll it into empty net. That's fantastic. And his goal, just copy of what he did in the Erzurum game. He's really a magician, as the Beşiktaş fans made the big picture of him for the stadium. He is the magician for team right now. And what they were saying, I heard the critics, we should not share much about his assists or goals because the Leicester City may increase his fee and they may not let him come to us or next season. And only negativity in the team again was like last game. Unfortunately, Bernat Mensah, he was disconnected with the team. His efforts, his belief, not there. And I hope Sergen Yalçın, manager, sees that too, so the next game he does not give him a chance. Even putting Rıdvan in forward or midfield instead of Bernat Mensah would make the ball rolling and passing accuracy much higher than what Bernat Mensah did. And Sergen Yalçın, as I said, is the smartest football managers in the league. When he talks about the game, prior to game, after the game, he's sending the correct messages. Because somebody needs to talk about this, how bad this fixture is organized. In 6 games, we are playing third game, and while the teams played on Tuesday, they are playing on Sunday. We play the game on Wednesday, and we play away game in Rize, which is the other end of Turkey, coming back to Istanbul to home, and going in the next game on Saturday. That's ridiculous. I don't know who is deciding these match fixtures, but somebody needs to address this. And funny thing, the Hatayspor, our next opponent, they didn't collaborate with Beşiktaş like Kayseri and Rize did for the changing the game day. Funny, really funny. The Rizespor manager Bülent Uygun was so confident on Monday, Tuesday, even on Wednesday. He was on TVs or talking what he was gonna do. He was gonna put everything. Nobody asked from the Turkish sports media that why he didn't put everything against the previous game, because he did not bring the full squad in Ankara when they play against Rize, against Liberty, and they lost that game. Why he didn't bring it full squad but saved all the players to go against Beşiktaş, and they lost. So right now they lost 6 crucial points in this last 4 weeks, and they become closer to the relegation zone. So sometimes when you become too smart to play against Beşiktaş, actually you are hurting yourself. He wanted to save his players not to get penalized with the yellow cards or red cards or injured. He saved half of the squad, left them in Rize when he went to Ankara last Friday. But when they play with Beşiktaş after losing, they could have got 3 points or a point in Ankara if he brought the full squad. Now they lost 6. And what he was saying after the game, he said they play well, the personal mistakes made the game go like that. It's total BS, because Gezal dragged all the defense. He made very clear assists to Enkudu. Prior to that, I mean, we could make the game in the first half 5-0, 6-0. We did not see our goalkeeper Ersin in the first half. And Ersin was only in the screen on the 55th minute when they attack, and he saved the one-on-one with his head. And later on, 1 minute later, Gökhan Töre scored the second goal. And we are holding the game well, and I don't know what happens. We are making easy fouls, or referees are blowing easy fouls against us. In 2 minutes, they scored 2 goals. All of a sudden, Rizespor manager was saying that, oh, we played well. And they came twice, basically. And the game, well deservedly win by Beşiktaş. Actually, one of the easy games. I was surprised. And I wish we continue same performance on Saturday or Sunday. I hope they change the game day to against Hatayspor. If we win that, I think we're gonna go 50%. We will be very close to the championship. So this is the last part. I do not wish good luck to Fenerbahce tomorrow. They are playing in Alanya, and this win in Rize for Beşiktaş will put a lot of pressure on Fenerbahce. And one last word to Ersin. In the second goal, he could have come and cleared the ball with punch. He came up his line and he decided not, and then took a step back. That's wrong. He should learn. He's a young goalkeeper. He should not do this. If he goes out, he will destroy everything in front of him like a bowling. Have a good evening and good luck your Knicks. They're playing against the Bulls, and Bulls are tough.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.